Hello everyone, this is a list review of Alexander Bondag's list for the Welsh Open. Um, Now, I can't remember any of the particulars for the Welsh Open, sorry about that, but I am going to try and link it in the description for the pack. I'll Google them once I'm done here. Um, so you can go and watch and see what's going on with this year's Welsh Open. It should be a good fight though. Seems like a lot of good players are going to go to the event. So let us see what Alex is doing. And by the way, Alex is one of those names who's cropped up in tournaments quite a bit here on this channel as well. Um, right. So 1,000 points, 17 order dice. Look at that. That is a good order dice count. Maybe a little high, maybe. Depends on what you have in the army. But Alex is bringing communist Chinese, so should be interesting. Um, so let's see. He brings a second lieutenant, inexperienced, with an extra man. So it's still a small team, very survivable, very small, very easy, but you get extra SMGs, which is always nice. And then guerrilla cells. This is the way to field communists most of the time. Pistol armed guerrilla cells, veteran. Look at that. They are forward deployers, or they can do that Chinese sparrow tactics thing where you have a move instead at the start. So they are up in your face very early on, and they are veterans, and they're 9-man veterans with Tough Fighter. These are assault units that can really dish out damage. And especially against enemy assaulters, no Gurkhas or Polish Lancers or SMG armed troops wants to go into close combat with these guys. They're just so goddamn useful and pretty cheap. 9 veterans with pistols costs 108 points. That is pretty cheap, isn't it? And especially for what you get with the fieldcraft, with the forward position, with the infiltration, all of that extra ability. Veteran, guerrilla, communist Chinese cells, just very, very useful little unit. Political officer, communist, inexperienced, with, I mean, that's just an easy order dice, isn't it? That's how you boost your order dice beyond the 14, 15 Goldilocks zone. Because you take someone like this, you equip him with a submachine gun. He's just very useful. Again, he's not very survivable, but it's an extra order dice, which means that you're very likely to get your order dice when you want them and not have the enemy take the order dice when they want them. More guerrilla cells, 2 more, one of them a little smaller because just points, I'm guessing. So that's 4 guerrilla cells. That should basically block out the center of the table. And especially in missions where you have objectives and can forward deploy, ooh, these guerrilla cells, they're going to sit on those objectives and they're not going to be moved. You can't get them off. You're going to HE them off. That's the only way to do it. Zero in on every one of them and just blast them down. That's the way to do it because they're going to go down. They're going to be in cover. They're going to win those objectives, aren't they? Inexperienced levy squad because you can, because it's free. Regular mortar with a spotter. I don't think it needs that spotter, but it is nice to have. And that can sit behind your forward deployers and your levy, and you push your infantry forward, right? The medium mortar can sit behind, start zeroing in, and it even has a heavy mortar team here as well. So it has double mortars, can zero in, very nice. I think many Chinese armies benefit from having HE sitting in their back lines. That's how I've seen it being played at the WTC by very, very good, very experienced Chinese players. So I think that's a real benefit. Sniper, double snipers. Now, these are very good, and again, very likely that you'll win the forward deployment game with both the guerrilla cells and the snipers. One thing you need to be aware of is not to go in and block off yourself from your target with your snipers, because the guerrilla cells want to be forward up in the face of your opponent. The snipers don't really. They want to have a little bit of range, so you're pretty likely to get in the way of your own shots at points in the game. So be aware of that. But double snipers, very nice anyway. Suiciders, and this is again how you boost that order dice. You take 3 suicide anti-tankers. They're not massively good, right? Because they're a charge. Once you charge a tank, right? Many tanks will be able to shoot you as you go in, and they'll most likely kill you. But they are a threat, and they're a threat that will push away enemy tanks from certain areas. So use them as such. Um, keep them in total cover. Um, deploy them near your guerrilla cells so that an enemy tank and an enemy steward can't drive all the way up and be like point blank and start shooting your guerrillas, because you're forward deploying. Right. So they're very, very useful, just not very, very good. Don't expect them to kill many tanks. That rarely happens. Actually, like anecdote time. Um, Last WTC, I was playing against. No, it was actually the previous WTC. It was in Cork. I was playing against one of the Spanish players who had brought Chinese communists, also suiciders, and he charged my Gurkhas. No, not my Gurkhas. My a steward. He charged a steward with his suicide, and he had, he'd been sneaking up for a couple of turns, and then finally he was inside of 12, and he charged, and I'm like, okay, I shoot. He's like, what? Well, you're outside of 12, and you're outside of 6, so it's not a surprise assault. I shoot you, and I killed him. So he wasted that. So that's what you can do, right? And yes, I couldn't see him with all my hull mounted machine guns, so it was only my machine guns on in the turret. But 5 shots, that is enough most of the time. A mountain gun, that is the third HE that you can shoot indirectly, with a spotter. Just very, very, very good build. This a mule team, again, very cheap order dice, and a captured Chiha with again a light howitzer. So that is 4 indirect shots. Alex, this is a very, very good build, and you know it. You're a cheesy get. This is going to win you games. This is absolutely going to win you games. It's a very good build. It's very strong. It has a lot of close combat ability. It doesn't have that much DACA, but it does have a lot of backline shooting with all that zeroing in. This is how you build a Chinese communist list. I don't think you can do much better than this. Congratulations, you've broken the game. I really like this list. Right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this list review. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.